Bonjour. Welcome back. This is part 2 of modeling Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry on SolidWorks in a chill, no pressure, easy, beginner-friendly way. Just a reminder, we modeled the first part of the Hogwarts building here, as you could see. And today, we're going to be doing the second big structure. So I'll share that. As we could see from my puzzle, we have this part that's just been, there is this part, which we're doing today. That's the second part of the series. And for the last, we're going to be doing all the details, other secondary structures, maybe making some modifications. Let's look at the structure we're modeling today. We could see 3 distinct structures are included in this whole structure. There is this tower with a conic head and this little extrusion, which for me looks a little strange, but that's how it's modeled. We have this middle part and it's got its own roof. And then there's big tower, of course. And we could see that it has 3 diameters different. There is 1, 2, 3. I might just simplify that and use only 2 diameters. And then of course it has its classic conic shapes. There are some additional details such as this structure here, this one on the right that I've already mentioned. Also these little miniature tiny windows. We will see if I feel motivated enough to do those. Of course, we know that we don't have to do each one individually manually. We do one and then we use patterning to go in a linear and also maybe a circular pattern because you could see that it repeats in here, etc. So with that, let us start modeling. Since last video, I haven't touched the model at all, except I just put a couple more folders to organize it. So I put one for all the house extrude and then one for the towers. Then I made them all in one. So that way we could differentiate what's from today and what's from before. Starting with the big cylinder tower, I'm going to use the top plane as my sketch plane like this. And I'm going to draw a circle. A little reminder that I measured in centimeters and my units in SolidWorks is millimeters. So here I actually had 9 meters. Now we need to provide a position for it. I've measured that from here to this little line, waiting for it to highlight, voila. This is 40 plus the radius, because it's actually, I measure it from the edge of the cylinder to the edge of the rectangular prism. If we said 90, so 45, it'll be 85. Okay. And we just have to give a vertical distance. So from here to here, this one, I'm going to eyeball it. Let's try 60 to see how it goes. That looks right to me. Okay, good enough. Okay. And actually, I'm going to put the other diameter too in the same sketch. Because remember we said we had 2 diameters different. This good. Okay. So, extruding, we shall start with our smaller. And the height of that, the first cylinder anyways, is 250 millimeters. Okay. There's nothing to merge. So I select the sketch again, except from now, it's not going to be from the sketch plane, but I want it from here and not this tall. Instead, 4 centimeters. This is good. And I do want it to merge. I just have to go to my contours and I'm going to select the outer circle and the inner one. You see the region 1 and 2. It gives me a solid cylinder, not a hollow. It's good. And I want to merge it. Okay. Next, I want to make the cone on top. To do that, remember last time we tried to make a cone with a 3D sketch, but it didn't work. So I'm going to make a 2D sketch. I'm going to first make a customized plane because there's no plane that goes through the center of the cylinder. So to make the plane, I first show the sketch. I just right click show and I want the plane to go through the center. So I'm going to go to reference geometry plane. My first one, I'm going to put the front plane just so it's going to be parallel. And my second is just going to say to go through this point. Now I'm going to right click on the plane and sketch on. Now, contrary to the town we've already done, I'm not going to make a simple cone because I think it's a little too simplistic. I'm going to actually do more so a cone with a little angled extrusion. I'll show you. First, I'm making a construction line. So it's center line, or you could actually right click and turn any line, construction or solid. This will be the height of the tower head, which is 150. I think for revolution, you need to have a closed contour. So here I'm going to go out, extrude a little bit. I'm going to go up an angle and then connect to the point. Escape. So I want this extrusion to be, let's say, 15. I want of this to be, let's say, 15. The angle, say 60. See how it looks? Oh, it's too much. 50. Okay. Yeah, seems good. Now you see that my contour is not highlighted because it's not closed contour. Why? Because the center line is a construction line. So as I showed you before, I'm going to turn it solid and voila. I'm going to exit and shortcut to revolution. So axis is going to be around this, and it already automatically chose my sketch. Let's see it. Okay. I think actually it comes out a little bit too much. So I'm actually going to find the sketch. I don't have to always open it. I could just click on it, and I'm going to, let's say 10. You just need to refresh it, and you do that by doing rebuild or control B. Okay, let's make 55. Rebuild. Okay, it was looking a little too much like a witch hat. So first tower, good, done. Next, I'm actually going to do the second tower. So I'm going to do a separate sketch, same plane, the top plane, because they all start from there. I'm going to show the sketch just so I could put a constraint that this and this are horizontal. Okay, see, they're horizontal. That's good. And we need to give a distance. So the structure between them is 90, but it's between the edges of the circle. So I just have to add the radius. So this radius is 25 plus 45, so 150, 160. Oops. Good thing SolidWorks does the math perfect. And this as well has a second diameter. Okay, same idea. This one is shorter because they're horizontally aligned. I could actually use the same plane to make the revolution. Now for the last part. What I'm going to do is actually make a plane in the middle of these cylinders, put the sketch on that, and extrude up to each structure. Why do I do that? Because if you look at the image, you could see that the middle structure is not planar on the sides. It's curved around the cylinders. So to do that on SolidWorks, what we could do is make a plane in the middle like this. Make the sketch on top of that and extrude it on both sides up to the towers, so it naturally forms the shape of the cylinder. If not, you could extrude it blindly. At the ends, it won't be curved. They will be straight, planar. And then, of course, you can go ahead, do body intersection like we did last time and remove the parts, but that's an extra step that we don't really need to do. You think, oh, one more step, what's the big deal? If there's a way to make it cleaner and more logical, you should use it. B, we're modeling something fairly simple and not very heavy. When you're using SolidWorks for big machinery, complex systems, maybe multiple machines in one file, you don't want any heavy processing. So try to always think of the shortcut, not shortcut in a lazy way, but also they do say that lazy engineers make the best engineers. I don't say that, they say that. But just try to find the most efficient, that's a better word, the most efficient way to reach the results that we want with the fewer steps. Here we are. I know I want a plane that's parallel to this and in between these two. What I can do is measure the distance between these two, half it, and take the measurement from here. Or I could just eyeball it. I don't need it to be exactly in the center just because when we're extruding, we're not putting an actual value. We're putting a function to next body. So this looks fairly good. I'm going to hide it and sketch on it. So it's a little bit chaotic like this. With all the bodies, we can, if ever we want, we can actually hide some bodies. So if you come here where all the bodies are, which are just very disorganized we could get that this is our big tower and this is small tower. So if I want to hide it, we could do that. Now that I moved my camera angle, I'm not perpendicular to the plane, I could come here. Or there is also Control A to make it normal view. Okay, so I know that my rectangle starts on the floor like all the other ones. I'm just going to make it like this. Okay, so I made sure that my edge is the middle point of my edge is also the middle point of this tower. Okay, so the width of this is 40. The heights, they're the same. And instead of putting a number, I always like making relations. So here you see that the height is not fixed. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to control and select this edge and make it collinear because they have the same height. That's good. And I'm going to put actually the roof part at the same time. If ever the center lines bug me, I could go here, right click and remove axis. I'm going to keep it. The roof is this shape. This part is fixed because it went through the midpoint. Good. I'm going to give a couple dimensions. This. And although we're not revolving this because it's not a cylindrical tower, I just did a half and I will just mirror this entity. You could also mirror in sketch mode. So entities to mirror. There you go. Mirror about. Oh, but here you need a plane. And I'm going to choose the plane that we used for the towers. Okay. Let's test it out to see if it works, even though it's not shaded. I shall extrude. Okay. So I think it's just something with the mirror function that removed the contour. I'm not sure why. Oh, maybe because we have double lines. The vertical line that was overlapping. I'm going to bring back the body that I hid. Okay. So what we're going to do is direction 1, we're going to do up to surface. No, up to body because they're different bodies. And then I'm actually not going to merge. There we go. It outlines the whole part. If I just did blind, and let's say I did it until 55, you see that all this part will be extra. So we're going to say up to body and this. And instead of doing this and then doing another extrusion, we're going to actually just do direction 2. There we go. And I think I was asking myself why it doesn't have up to next. I think up to next is only when in reference to its own body. So because these two towers are different bodies, it's going to say up to body. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, or else I will die thinking this is the truth. Okay, so this is good. There we go. Not bad. Okay, next we have the little tiny towers. There's a couple on this part, which you'll see. And here, and then there is this part left, this part, and plus or minus all these little ones. So that is actually the exact same process as we did here, where we did a hexagon, extruded it, and then a conic roof, except we don't need to do these parts. So that's a little bit simpler. Oh shoot, I forgot is that we need to extrude down to it because it's a slope, just like we did on these. So I'm actually going to have to make another plane instead of the top plane and extrude down. That's good because the sketch is already made. And let's say we did. I don't want to redo it. I'll show you actually how to switch the planes if ever this comes up for you, which I'm sure it will. It happens to me. So I'm going to make this and this parallel. So now it's fixed. So we're going to exit out. We're going to make a plane, but this plane actually needs to come before a sketch because we're saying that the sketch is made on the plane. And if there's no plane, then how's the sketch made? So I'm going to roll you see my timeline here. I'm just going to hold and drag it one up. So the sketch is not there. Reference, plane. We're going to top as the reference because we want it parallel. But instead, we're just going to put a number. So the plane is made. Perfect. And now I'm going to take my timeline, bring it down, and right-click, edit sketch plane. You see right now, originally it's the top plane. We want to clear that, and we're going to use plane 10, the one we just made. Perfect. It's right here. I'm going to hide the plane. Up to body. Right now it's selected up to body because I remembered our choice last time. But in this direction, there's nothing. There's no body, so that's why it's not working. And I'm not going to merge. I'm going to reverse the direction and I'm going to choose this body. This is good. I do think when I was thinking at 25, I was not actually accounting for the length in here. So right now it should be at 38. So I'm actually going to lower the plane a little bit. I'm going to paste the length it is now. And from that, I'm going to subtract 25. So we'll be left with about 13.549, etc. being subtracted from total height. Good. Rebuild. Good. I'm going to put the roof Same idea as before. We're going to use this OG plane. So we got our little tower here, which look at this. This one looks much cuter than that one. Now I'm going to actually mirror this so I don't have to repeat anything. Our mirror face is plane 9. And our bodies are the save. I didn't save this whole time. That's very bad. I hope you saved. Okay. Now the other tower I have is this big one. To be honest, this one's pretty strange. That looks like a air missile. To do that, I'm going to completely wing it, like much of this whole tutorial. I'm going to make this. Seems too little. 20. Okay. Now it doesn't interfere with this tower, so I just have to make sure it's far enough so there's no interference. I'm gonna go control. See, right now it's fine, so I'm just gonna approach it as much as I can. You see there's a little bit of space, so that's good enough for me. I'm just gonna make sure that it's in line. Horizontal. Perfect. Now it's black. I'm gonna extrude it. I'm not going from the sketch plane because it doesn't start all the way here. It starts more so around here. So I'm going to say from surface here. Good. And it's not up to body. This time it's just going to be blind because we don't have any reference up top. So maybe 80. Actually, I'm going to start it a little bit below and I'll show you why later. So I'm going to offset it. I'm going to offset about 110. You see, they're so close to touching, but no. Okay, that's good. And then what I want to do is actually, I want it to be the bottom part, like it is in the photo. I want it to be kind of like a rod. Let me show you. You see here, it's not just a cylinder. It's curved like a rod, where the top is in a regular roof like we've done. So one way of doing the curvature is using lay here. And you're going to do the edge. Already it does completely what we want because the diameter is exactly what it needs to be. 10 radius. So that way it makes a perfect rod. You see, it's so cute. And we shall take the help of this plane. Again, my plane technically doesn't extend, but yes, it does. It goes through the whole file, but you won't be able to see it if the end is in Alaska. I could either do what I did with this metal structure of making a plane between them and extrude up to the body, or I could just make the connection here, because here I don't really care what the connection looks like. I'll do that. I want it to be connecting to this part. So I'm just going to convert entity of this. And now we have a sketch of the tower, at least the bottom part. And now I could just connect them. I'm going to actually use the center as a guide. Okay. So we want this, this, and this. I'm holding control when I select all of them. We want it all to be parallel, and we want it all to be horizontal. I could have just said horizontal, and they would have all made it parallel. Okay, that's good. But now we just need to put the distance between this and this. Let's say 5. What is the problem? Because again, we modified a sketch that we already put a feature on. So now it's like, but what am I supposed to do? Which one? Which one do I extrude? Okay, just going to rebuild it. Seems like I need to reselect. Right click. I'm going to do offset by how much? We shall see. Say 110. No, 115. 20 it was. Okay, and I'm going to do blind. No, sorry. Okay, it looks a little odd. I'm just going to do up to surface this. I'm not going to merge it. I'm going to merge this one and this one. Okay, I think for the second part, this is good. For the little ticks here, I think I will actually do it in the part 3. Maybe what I'd like to do is just do a chamfer. So I'm just gonna select the whole face and give it 3, no, 2. And I like to see what it looks like if I just do the, okay, that's a little bit of complexity, but super easy. So let's try it with this part too. This part. But you see, this part's, because it's already extruded, it looks not right. So I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna remove this part too, just to make it consistent. I'm gonna go up. Before that, the third structure was made. Nice. And then bring it down, all the way down. Good, now you see that when it was doing up to body, it also accounted for the chamfer. And I'm gonna do it on these little guys too. That looks pretty good. However, with this one, I kind of wanted the tower to be a little bit more dramatic, so I'm gonna try something higher. More. Yeah, that's better. I do like the dramatic look of the long, tall towers more. And because I love these little chapeaux so much, I can't wait until part 3 to change these, so I'm just gonna do it here. There we go. I'm gonna right click collapse, and I shall just do a little bit of housekeeping. So all the, I'm going to leave all the solid bodies without combining for now, in case I want to maybe differentiate the colors between the little detailed bodies versus the bigger ones. So maybe at the end I'll do the house cleaning for the solid bodies. So that concludes our part 2. It was much more simple and faster and less annoying with all the little wedges that we had to do for these. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know. Like, subscribe, write a comment, tell me any feedback. If you like the series like this, don't be shy. Until next time.